Hi everyone, this is the Moxie Best Practices on Proactive Engagements. Thank you everyone for joining today. So I'd like to thank you all for coming on. Just to give you a quick introduction and a few pointers on here. You will have all joined and you'll find that you're all muted at the moment. If you have any questions at all, there is a chat panel there that you can actually add any questions as you're going through to. So please do ask me anything as you feel today, and I'll make sure that I have some time at the end to answer any questions you may have. A quick introduction of myself. My name is David Bonner. I'm the Solutions Engineer based over in EMEA. I've actually been with Moxie for around about 7 years now. I spent 4 years of that within professional services, and now, as I say, I'm a sales engineer. So I've certainly worked through quite a few implementations, and I've got some good ideas that I want to put forward to you of proactive engagements. So just to give you a high-level agenda of what we'll actually be covering today, to start off with, we're actually going to look at understand your end goals and KPIs. Obviously, this is a key point here because without kind of understanding this kind of level, it's not a good way to start if you don't have this level of detail to know where you're actually going to engage with your customers with actually using proactive chat. Now, then we're going to go into when, where, and why, when you should actually use proactive chat and when you should actually engage with your customers. Then we're going to go through techniques to preempt customer struggle and increase opportunities. And then we're going to have a look at customizing proactive engagements within the Moxie across the different devices that we offer here. So obviously you'll be probably familiar with the fact that we can actually engage customers across all device types, so desktop, mobile and tablet. And there's some good little pointers in there where we can actually engage with the customer quite differently really on mobile devices to desktop devices that we're going through today. As kind of a very brief introduction about proactive as well, when we're talking about this, obviously it is slightly different to the way we actually engage with regards to reactive. Reactive is essentially the ability for your customers to go to the site and they can decide when they'd like to engage. Whereas proactive is used either with chat, it can be now used with knowledge and also email as well. And the distinct way of actually engaging with your customers can be entirely up to the business itself of how you'd like to actually engage. It could be a customer struggle, it could be the fact that the customer is going to a support site. So again, we'll talk through some of those key concepts today as we're going through the actual webinar. As I mentioned at the very top of this, as I say, if you do have any questions, please feel free to add those into the chat box as well. So to get us going, what we're actually going to do is we're going to look at, first of all, in understanding your end goals and KPIs. So as I've put a little pointer at the bottom here, imagine the end game first. In the end, someone is going to have to measure value by running a report or two. So this is key for us, for the fact that what I don't want to happen, and I've seen in the past, is that proactive can be added very simply into the business. It's a great concept. You can engage with lots of customers. But if you don't have the ideas of how you're actually looking to measure that success, then it's hard to point out what you're actually trying to do as a business. So some ideas of what we generally measure are within this PowerPoint slide here. Is it going to be across measuring conversion rates? So very simplistic. Is it a case of they're helping them out through that sales funnel, where we're trying to get them to go through that funnel, where they're actually going to make that sale at the end of that journey if they're going through? Are we looking to increase the average order value? Are we going to look at increasing web self-service? So for example, are we going to try and offer them proactive content to help them through that journey? In which case, the way we go from sales to service can also be slightly different there as well. Will it be based on decreasing bounce rates, so number of customers who are leaving the site? Could it be a case of decreasing the calls to the call center? Again, they're very different goals, but if you know all this information up front, it certainly helps you as a business to distinguish and create these rules to make sure they're more effective for you going forward. I won't go through all of these in every single slide, but you can see on here there's lots of different ways that we can actually measure this success. And I'll keep referring back to this because every step of this journey that we'll be going through today definitely keeps coming back to this slide to make sure that we're actually looking at the success rates, because at some point, as I said in the previous slide, there's always going to be a way that you have to measure the value by running a report or two. Just to get you in with a little bit more detail of what I'm actually talking about today. So I've just said there that you need to look at your KPIs. And the reason why it's important is because what you'll see on my screen right now is some customer data that we've taken from some of our customers who have been happy to provide this detail for us. So just to talk about these in a little bit more detail. So what you'll see from the first bubble is Proactive represents 40%, that's 40% of all chat generated revenue. So maybe you have 60% of chat and 60% of chat revenue, I should say. 40% of that could actually is represented within that 60%. That's a very high figure of one of our customers that is actually applicable there. We're also seeing with one of our customers 28% higher conversion rate if engaged. So they're on the site, they're going through to that customer journey, and they're actually engaging with us. If they engage, we're seeing that 28% higher conversion rate. So there's an uplift on their sale in place there. The next circle that you'll see on the screen is most successful proactive rule. And I'll talk more about this as we're going through the slides, but this is a very simple and easy rule. And the reason why I say that is because with Moxie, it's really easy to be able to create these rules to make sure that you're engaging with your customers at the right time in the journey. So this is actually based on a promo error. And as I say, I'll talk more about this a little bit later on, but this is the most successful proactive rule that we're seeing with our customers currently. And then the last bubble you'll see on there is majority of chats are sales related. A high percent or the majority of sales related chats are coming through to us with the actual right engagement at the right time in the customer journey. There are a number of ways to make sure that this is happening for you. And again, we'll talk about that as we're going through these slides today. But there's a few ideas that I'm going to put forward to you as we're going through some of those customer journey slides as we're going through this webinar today. As we're looking at KPIs, there's often the talk as well with regards to why, when, and where to actually engage with your customers on the site. So why to engage with your customers? So why are you actually looking to implement Proactive? So I know there'll be many of you who've already got it in place. So you already have Proactive running. You'll probably have different flavors as well between you. Some of you will maybe just have chat. Some of you will have knowledge chat, and some of you will have email and chat or email and knowledge. But there's different ways you can actually attempt to engage with your customers as well using the Moxie solution. Some of you may be looking to get it up and running pretty soon. In which case, there's kind of three areas of whys that I've put into this slide here today. Are you attempting to chat with more people in general to boost sales? Is it a case of, as I've put there in the brackets, are you casting a wide proactive net to everyone on your site? Do you want it on your homepage? Do you want it across every single sales page and every single support page? In which case, then you could have a look at a number of ways to engage with your customers. The second point here is, are you hoping to help improve the customer experience and offering people help when they struggle? So more selective proactive. Maybe your main KPI is decreasing those calls to the call center because you know the friction points in your customer's journey where you can actually engage with them. So this is more of a support use case, but as again, this is one of the main use cases that I see with our customers today. And then the very last point in here is support reaching out to a customer. And this is the Moxie story here, really. This is about the proactive engagement, tapping the customer on the shoulder and saying, I see you've been looking at this product. Can I help answer any questions today? And again, the context here is that you could use chat, or you could use knowledge, or you could even ask your customers to engage you with an email if you wanted to. If you don't have chat man 24/7, then offer them the ability to get that content in there with Proactive, or even offer them the service of having an email where they can upload an attachment to you and get those forms across to you. So there's a 24/7 experience for that customer as well going across. When? So when is a good time to engage with your customers? This is different depending obviously on each one of those use cases. But when do you look at deciding to engage with your customers? So what I've put here again is in 2 points is what sources of customer feedback does your enterprise have today? So I'm sure a lot of you will have feedback forms on the actual website itself where you have a level of detail coming back in. Well, use that detail up front. So the second point here is do you have a call center or reactive chat or even a survey technology, which I mentioned above, like Opinion Labs? That tells you where in the journey customers give you the most feedback. If there are friction points in that journey, if it's on the home page where they need to see more content and information, but then engage them with that proactive, offer them assistance earlier in that journey. And even at this point, maybe from desktop to mobile device, you decide that you'd like to engage with them differently on each one of those devices. Maybe on desktop, you may not want to engage every single customer, and I'm sure you wouldn't want to do it straight away on a home page on desktop with chat. But on a mobile device, maybe your customer struggles a lot more going through those areas. So maybe the friction point is they leave sooner on a mobile device. Well, then create a proactive rule which is going to engage them a little bit sooner in that journey. But these feedback forms will certainly help you if you wanted to have a look at those to decide when you're actually going to engage with your customers. So the last point on this slide is in other words, which products and service page inspire the most questions today, and which pages cause people to struggle the most. And these will be our initial proactive targets. I'm often asked as well when doing the implementations, which or how many rules should we start implementing? Well, you could start with 5 rules, you could start with 10 rules. I don't think you need to boil the ocean to have an effect on the business. Obviously, again, understanding those KPIs. If you're looking for conversion, well then start off in that sales funnel, start off with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rules, and then start looking at the reports to decide when you're actually going to engage your customers and start tweaking those rules. And I'll talk more about that as we're going through here as well. Also, look at current website visit data. So look at the frequently left pages. So is this in the sales and shopping carts? Are these on particular web forms? And are these on key product pages? Have a look at the contact us page, phone escalations. Now this is a big one if you're looking to reduce obviously the telephony side of things. If you're looking to reduce the number of telephone calls coming into the business, then it's a great way to engage your customer and offer them another service by offering that proactive chat. If you know they're leaving that page or trying to call within 60 seconds, well then look to have them offered a proactive chat or a piece of content within 30 seconds, and then tweak that accordingly, depending on how the reports are actually running for you to decide how you're actually looking to engage them. Average shopping cart value when abandoned, have a look at that. That's obviously a key one as well if you're looking for conversion data. Referring sites, AdWords and pay-per-click. If you know they're coming in from particular referring sites and you have maybe a marketing campaign coming in, then they're great areas as well to engage with your customer. And often what I see here is with regards to proactive invitations is that you often engage with them sooner on those pages because you know they're after a particular product that they're looking at as they're coming in through those referral sites itself. Self-service abandons, and then also proactively engaging your customers. So my last 3 points are kind of the key ones down here at the bottom, but use analytics to determine whether or not to engage a customer, use metrics to create conditions and rules for candidates, and then rule and agent initiated customer engagements. So have a look at all this analytics up front to decide your KPIs and where you're going to look at the customers, use the feedback accordingly, and then start creating some of these rules. Obviously, this all determines where on the actual site you're looking to engage with these customers. So I put on here location, location, location. Now, this could be every page. It could be a particular point in the journey, like the contact us page, or it could be certain inflection points as well. Again, it all triggers back to those main KPIs that you're looking to monitor for your customers. Here's some ideas that I've put down with regards to some considerations. Have a look at behaviours. So people trying to make a decision and people struggling. The 3 key points here will be important to you for you to consider. So looking for more information, clicking into more info tabs, clicking into reviews tabs, searching and not finding results, and hitting error messages in the payment flow. I'll go through each of those in a bit more detail. So looking for more information, maybe your customer is clicking on tabs. This could be sales or support as well, where they're going back and forth between certain products. Maybe they're going to your FAQ page and then they go to the contact us page. Well, that seems to me like that would be a great idea to then decide to engage with your customers with a proactive message. Searching and not finding results, maybe they're going to your FAQ section again, maybe they're going to a web self-service area, or maybe they're just running general searches and certain products aren't coming back, or maybe they're not just getting much information. So they're, again, key points with regards to proactive invitations going out to your customers. But the final point in here is probably the key one, and that's hitting error messages in the payment flow. If you're looking to increase that conversion, then if you see error messages, then they're very big key struggle points that we're seeing with those customers. Those circles that I showed you earlier on were those 4 key points. You'll see that the promo code one was the biggest one. And the reason why that happens is because what we're seeing with customers is that they're going to certain promotions, they're not coming back results, so therefore they're actually leaving the site. So offer them a proactive invitation at that point. So how do you customize proactive engagements within Moxie across devices? So I'm going to go through a few different phases here. So this is the initial phase. This is the awareness phase. So we always go through awareness, consideration. There's a sales phase, and also there's a support phase as well. So we'll go through each of these. Greet your customer in context. What you'll see here is that it says, welcome to Go Retail, which is the same name of our fictitious website. You'll find the great same experience here online as you would expect on the phone or in store. This could all be, if we was looking for a new camera, or we were looking for a new TV set, or we're looking for insurance. We can be a bit more specific with regards to the messaging which is going out to your customers. Don't just have a message on the screen. You can see here on the right-hand side, which just says, need help, have questions? Okay, let's chat. Try and be a bit more specific in that customer journey, the way you're actually offering assistance. So have the messaging up front, and that's what, again, this solution now allows you to do. It allows you up front to recognize a customer at the point in their journey that they need assistance, for you to then give them that invitation with the correct wording within. Recognize first-time visitors as well. Not everybody knows that help is always going to be there, so make them aware. Even if you have reactive on your website, there should be no need to not offer them proactive invitation at an early point in their journey, just to let them know that chat is there. Not everybody sees it on the website very easily. So what we can do here is that we can make sure that you maybe recognize first-time visitors, and then you engage them with that information and just say, hi, just to let you know, here is the ability to have a chat session if you'd like to have assistance at any point during your journey. As I say, if you have reactive across your website, you can then ensure that that your customers know that proactive is kind of a hint or a reminder that they can ask for assistance at any point. Offer assistance to visitors who have hesitated completing a purchase or sign up. Again, this is something that I mentioned on the last slide, but offering assistance to people who have hesitated completing a purchase or sign up. So if they're on a certain page, again, in the sales funnel, potentially, well then let's offer them assistance. Then maybe they're going back and forth between those pages. Maybe they've actually left the site and they come back. Well, we can recognize the fact that it's a second time for them visiting. So let's engage them in this funnel and let's make sure that they're getting the right level of assistance, but with a different message this time. We can say, hi, welcome back. We can see you've been to this page before, and you've looked at this insurance form, or you've looked at this camera. Would you like to have a chat conversation with us today? Or would you like to have a look at our latest video of this camera? Or would you like to have this information if you're using knowledge with regards to, for example here, the middle image is something we can use as well with regards to knowledge. So you can push content to your customers as well. The consideration phase, so support your customers' desire to do this on their own. For you that are looking to do this in a more support-orientated way with proactive, then it's a great way to make sure that you push in the relevant content as they're going through these pages. What I'm actually doing on those 3 images below is the kind of the approach that we're going for here is that the customer looks to have a look at the ratings, reviews on this particular page. We then push them a proactive invitation that you can see here. Would you like to learn more? They're actually looking at a camera. So it says here, would you like to look at this, have a bit more information about this camera? We then push them some content. They then decide which content to have a look at, and then they can see this video. It's it's a particular phase where you don't always have to offer chat, but if you do, then it will work just as well. And I still know this works for a lot of our customers out there. But if you do have the content, this is a great way of making sure that they're still getting pushed through that sales funnel. And that's the way we're doing it in these slides. I'm actually just pushing them a small video here at the bottom. On the right-hand slide that you'll see is a video that I'm actually pushing across to the customers in place here. So it's a great way of offering them assistance. Again, if you don't have knowledge, you can still do this with chat. You can say, if they click on the reviews, would you like to have a chat session today to ask a few more questions about this camera? But the fact is, it seems less robotic because you're mentioning camera. So that's a desired approach that we're looking to have here as well. And also that's kind of a struggle point as well. I should have mentioned that on the last slide. That's also a struggle point for our customers. And then on the conversion phase, there are a number of things that we can do here as well. It could be based on the cart value, or maybe it's the fact that they're a VIP customer and you'd like to engage them with a chat conversation. So what I mean by that is that they've logged into the platform, they're logged into the website. You then identify them as a VIP customer. And by that, what I mean is they've maybe spent over a certain amount through the years, or they're a gold or a silver or bronze, whatever it may be. You can identify them and then offer them different types of assistance as well. So here, what you'll see on this conversion stage is that our customer here is actually looking to put in a promotion code. So what we've actually done here is that we're saying in the middle slide, sorry you're having trouble with that. Good news, you do qualify for another working code. If they click here, again, we can either push them to a piece of content where we give them a new promotion code, or we can offer them a chat assistance where we can then just go to a particular service line where we have an agent ready to stand by and say, hi, just to offer you, let you know today that here's another promotional code, and they can carry on through that checkout phase. On the left-hand side, what you'll see here is as well is, sorry to see you've emptied the cart. And this is a very big struggle point that we see for our customers. And if you're going to start anywhere, this is definitely the key one that I would recommend going with. So you can see here, the messaging is accurate to the needs. Although in the blue box you'll see it says, oh no, but the messaging here is, sorry to see you've emptied the cart. Can we help you find something that's a better fit? But it's a way of engaging with that customer. Maybe there isn't a better fit. Maybe they did actually want to purchase it, but it was too expensive. But having a conversation with one of your agents can certainly help you reduce that friction and carry on with that customer through the journey. What we're always trying to do here with Moxie is our phrase is kind of be there. It's being there at the right point in that customer journey to make sure they're getting that right level of assistance. As I mentioned earlier on as well, it's tapping them on the shoulder to make sure that we're engaging them. But you do need to understand those KPIs to know when you'd like to engage with those customers. The last phase in here is the service phase. And in here what you'll see is that, do you need immediate assistance? Feel free to complete the contact us form, but we're happy to chat. So if you're looking to reduce calls, or maybe the fact that you have just a contact info page and not many FAQs that they can go to, then again, you could offer them a chat at this point in the journey. The fact that you can deal with multiple chats at any one time means that you can reduce the number of calls coming into the center, and also the number of cutoffs that your customers are getting when they're actually going to this cutoff onto this contact info form page as well. And the next slide is our Platinum Desk is standing by. So I mentioned the fact that if you do log into any of these websites as well, that you can also offer assistance based on the fact that someone is actually returning. And if you pass us some key details, for example here, the actual customer's name themselves, then we can make sure that we enhance their experience so that if it's not just support, it's not just sales, but also what we're actually doing here is that we're trying to improve the customer experience so that your NPS scores could also get an increase in score as well as they're going through. So the fact that they know they can engage you at the right points in this journey. So I have a couple more slides left to do, but this is kind of a synopsis of what I was just talking about. The first message I've got on here is appropriate invite wording. Try not to use just here to help and chat now. It seems a lot more robotic, and the uptake that I've seen with just having these words means that customers just see it as a bit more irritating rather than, you know, the next message down. How can I help you with that insurance form, or that banking form, or that camera? try and be a bit more accurate with your messaging that you're actually pushing out to your customers. Or I can see you have been on our checkout page for some time. Would you like some assistance? It doesn't have to be a certain product. It could be a particular page where you're reaching out. So just try and be accurate with the needs of your customers. Make it less robotic in the messaging going forward. Techniques to preempt customers. So this kind of brings it all together now. So try and look at data early. I'm not going to go through all these points, but try and look at data early. The key point on here is do not be afraid to tweak the rules, but take note of when you make those changes. I'll say that again. Don't be afraid to tweak rules, but take note of when you make those changes. I often see that I go into a business and there'll be rules that are being changed from day in, day out. Now, if you know your KPIs up front, you'll want to know what's actually affecting those KPIs. Without taking note of when you're actually making those changes, you're not always going to know if it's a positive or negative outcome. So try and do that. If you have a document with all your rules in place, maybe you have 5 or 10, just outline, try and keep on top of it, and then say on the 26th, I changed it to 30 seconds. On the 27th, I engaged a customer after 60 seconds as a basic example. And methodology here is as well, begin to design engagements to reach your end goals. So again, this is kind of my last slide really. And the reason why I've got that as a main point here is as well, is because we'd like to begin to design engagements to reach your end goals. Identify the pages on your site that most benefit from engagements based on your analysis of the gathered data. This all comes together. It could be, again, using your analytics on your website. It could be the fact that you're using feedback as well from your customers. You'll also see on these slides that it's not just a forget strategy. You do not have to keep going in here and tweaking these rules, but certainly look to go in there and monitor them as closely as you can. Start off slowly, maybe start going in there every single day and tweaking them and having a look through some of those information pieces, but then at least weekly. Once you know that they're working effectively for you as your business, start going in there weekly and start tweaking these as going forward. Also try different engagement types, and I couldn't speak about this more highly, but it's so easy to be able to make these changes with Proactive that it's also important to try different engagement types. If you know that you have a certain invite or a certain image being pushed out to your customers and it's not working, then change it. Change the wording, change the location, but always take note of which changes you're actually looking to make going forward. That's everything I wanted to talk about today. Now, I know there's a couple of minutes left on this webinar today. I'd like to thank you all for joining us today. If you do have any questions, then feel free to send them through onto the chat messaging now for me, and I'll have a look through those. But thank you for listening in. So just having a look through some of these, questions in place here. So just to let you know, I know there's a few points going forward here. I'll go back to that one in a second. Do you have any mock-ups of sales chat proactive messages that your customers found to be more successful than others? I can certainly look at sharing some of those with you. I don't have any with regards to my slides today, but what I would say on that is that some customers have found different messaging going forward more useful than others. So, for example, if you're an insurance customer, or you're a banking customer, or you're a retail customer, we've seen different messages which is actually being utilised differently with those, with different success rates. So I can certainly look at doing something for you, or sharing something for you as well with regards to that. So let's have a look at also, yeah, there will be, we're recording this entire event and related materials will be distributed at the end. So all of this will be presented to you. And the last question, I will make sure that all this goes across to you with regards to what I was just mentioning there as well about the messaging. Sure, yeah, I've got the last message there, so I'll make sure that gets across to you. So thank you very much. As I say, I will have a look through some of these questions, but it will all be recorded and sent out to you, and I'll also try and get together some messaging that we found work for some of our customers and across to all of you as well today. But otherwise, thank you very much for joining today. Obviously, there will be more webinars in the future. I look forward to speaking to you then. Thank you.